Hello. Just got back from a long night of recon and scoping stuff out, getting back to sources, and a meeting with my direct superior, Larry. Not his real name, of course. I just call him that to fuck with him. It seems to work fine. He's actually kind of taken to it a little bit, so whatever, fuck it. Anyway, he actually liked the idea of my videos. He thought it was a good idea. It would make me a good target, which is actually what I'm technically supposed to be, a target for other compass races to focus on, so that he can apply other forces that he has in his retinue and figure out how to hurt him. So he was all for it. So more of this is going to happen, and he gave me a pretty good idea about how to go about, how to instruct people, how to explain all of this, because there's a lot to it, and I know pretty well all of the various factors. So first, we'll go with who Larry is to me. He is a jackal. He is my broth. I'll put text in the video so that you can see and understand these words. It's R-O-T-H to us, but to the jackals it's just spelled R, and it'll be a little H crossed into the bottom of the first line of a much larger H. The compass races use jackal because they're the most forceful, and they put their language on pretty much everything, and everyone just adapts it. Side note, the jackals are the only ones to use the TH sound. They're the only race capable of actually pronouncing that sound, which is why in my name the TH is actually seen as very powerful, the Lothran, because it makes me more jackal to have that sound in there. Now, what Larry does is he trains agents, and he uses them in whatever needs his superiors send his way. I'm not partial to any of that knowledge. He just calls me up, and whenever he needs to meet or discuss details of a plan or anything like that, he'll just text me, and I have to snap to it, even if I'm on recon or salvage or any of those jobs. And then it's pretty rough, but it's a lot better a situation than I was in, say, a year ago. And especially this whole last winter was just brutal beyond comprehension. Like, I wasted a bunch of time on tasks that not only I didn't really have the resources for, but I couldn't get enough profit out of, and I didn't build any Zamir, I believe is the right word. I'm not too sure. I'll have to check with Larry. He's much more keen on the language than I am. I'm still building up the knowledge base. That would just be Z-U-M-H-I-R. They usually skip vowels when they're writing it out, but I'm pretty sure that one is just spelled that way. And what it means is it's a social currency. It's your reputable standing, and by not knowing the right techniques and the right ways to communicate with other operatives in the area, I wasted a ton of it last winter, and I could have been doing much better, but it taught me some really hard lessons. Like, I had to endure on next to nothing for an extended period of time during extreme cold. It was pretty messed up, but I have a much better understanding of not only where I am now, but where I need to be. You know, how much further I need to push myself so that I can attain the right authority and the right profitability from my own life. Where that leads me is the concept of Ket, which is instruction, teaching, and learning. It's just KT is how it's spelled. And where it comes from is the Jackal idea of trials, which, funnily enough, is a word that they developed separately from our concept of the word. It's just one of those language things. Sometimes, you know, independently, two ideas form in exactly the same way and mean exactly the same thing. It's, you know, they're bipeds and we're bipeds, and they encounter problems, and it's just the same solution. What the trials mean to the jackals, though, is much more important, because, like, Larry being a Roth, he's not just a boss. He's more like a liege lord and a supervisor combined, maybe a military post somewhere in there, but he's much more like a liege lord. And he's also, he wasn't born to it. Jackals have to earn in the Zumir system through their experience in the trials. There's like a whole point-based system, and the trials test everything. Stuff you're good at, stuff you're not good at, maths, geography, lore, all that kind of stuff. And they just sort of throw it at you, and you have to deal with all of it. And how you adapt to changing situations is a key role. And Larry has like a lot of Zamir. That's kind of why he's on the Earth forward operating base. You know, well, he's actually in a Gade, but I'll get to that. I'll get to a Gade in a different video. That's a whole video on its own. But he's my connection to the Jackals for how I have to integrate into their society. It's just necessary. And he actually likes the idea of me passing Ket on to you so that you can learn more about the Compass citizens. That would be the symbol I use for all of my profiles on VidMe or YouTube or Minds. The personal logo itself is the compass. All of those symbols, each one represents a different leading species that interacts with humans on some level. The center being the operators, the one above being Tabor, and Tabor is, well, Tabor, you can't fuck with him. He's always going to be there in some form or another. And then the diamond is the Nast, which usually they're in some sort of a merchant operation, either above board or below. They always seem to know where the money is, and then try to situate themselves directly within it. The operators, being at the center, they usually handle acquisitions, which, you know, is their thing. They acquire agents and operatives and trade them out. And underneath that is the Vez All. They've actually fallen from where they were, or the Jackals tore them down because they crossed the Jackals, and now that position is up for grabs. The Vez All looks like it's a hexagon with a jar in the top of it. It's actually the symbol I bought, or very similar like it, so that I could use on my own sigil, and, you know, that's a way for me to integrate better with the Jackals, because they want to take that position. They just have to do a lot of legwork to be able to officially acquire it. And if I attach myself to that symbol that no one else wants, then I'll be able to... Final goodbye. That's all the information I wanted to relay. I have been checking on the camera and what I can do with it. The thing is, I found it in a Gade, and I can't really change the settings because of the situation it was in when it landed in that place. So I've tried to work with it, but eventually I'll have to get a new camera. It's just I couldn't pass up the opportunity of picking up this camera and using it because I needed one, and I have no money because I'm spending it all to build Zamir and, wrap myself in the interaction with the Compass citizens that are all over LOL for no fucking reason, as far as I can understand. Gotten some information for what's going on, but none of it is really relatable. Like, I couldn't describe it to you. Anyway, I got that work to do, so have a good day. I hope you learned a lot. Try to stay safe out there.